Hello and hi everybody. My name's Dave Shepherd of BIM4U, and I'm here to give you a Happy New Year update on what's been happening with the Kobe data updater and some new tools which I've developed. So just to give you a very quick update on the Kobe data updater, it's a very simple tool, but it very quickly, as you can see there, allows you to change between floors, between rooms, to identify a particular component in that room, and then to edit that component, make changes to it, as you can see here, whether it's a serial number you want to add or an installation date, whatever it is, you can add those things. And what I've first done is I've added some analytics. So this is a dashboard which Power BI is basically identifying the information by percentage complete of all of the Kobe asset data properties. So it's showing you that progressively, as different people are using the app, your supply chain, they're all contributing, they're all updating this information. As you can see here, we've got a fairly low count on the serial number. So that's something that I'm going to have to look into and make sure that they attend to. And I've got another dashboard here, which also shows other information in terms of the handover documentation and whether that's been fully prepared. So it means that I've got the high level view of how things are going with the collection of asset data. As ever, I've shown you this before, but I'll show you again. So we've got a search bar so we can very easily look for a particular drawing. And we can go into that drawing, and as you can see here, we can zoom in, we can pan, and we can also look for text as well. I won't go through the detail of that. We did it before, and I can go back to my main screen. So that's the Kobe data updater. What else do we have? Well, the good news is that we now have something known as the mobile asset manager. Truth is, I'm trying to work out a name for it. It seems to be the most straightforward name for what we have here. It's not just available on the web, but as you can see here, it's also available in Teams, so you can access it within Teams. And alongside the mobile asset manager, I've also got the mobile document manager. So it lists all of the documents, and just click on there, it will refresh. And essentially, it will show you all of the documents that are associated with this. At this point, very often people will say to me, yes, this is great, but one of the challenges that they've had with this environment is how do you connect the two tables that you have, or three tables, because you might have a table for your systems, one for the components, another one for the different types that you have within the Kobe data structure. How do you connect all that together? So there is a tool set called the XRM Toolbox. And within that toolset, there's something called a polymorphic lookup. What it basically means is that you can connect a particular table and a particular to other tables, but that can be connected to multiple tables. So in this case, we're connecting the document table. I'll just close that down. We're connecting the document table to the system, asset, and type tables. Now, what does that mean in reality? What it means, if I go to here, is that if I am in a particular window like this, I'm just going to use the mobile document manager to demonstrate this. So we'll open that up. So these are different documents that we've got. Let's say we choose this one here and we scroll down. This was the actual associated type and component. But what you'll notice is because it's polymorphic, it allows me to update this according to, if I type here like so, notice it says results from two types of records, simply because it can only find AC in two types of records. So depending on what, if it's a system, if I type HV, you can see that it's found that HVAC or HV is in one type of record. So depending on what you're typing, it will identify that these are the records that contain this thing, and then I can choose which of those. So it might be that actually I want to associate it with a particular asset, and then I can finish like so, or I can say instead of this AC unit type 1, and it does a lookup through all of those tables at the same time, so I can choose which of those that I want to apply and then just assign it. So it could be that I want to apply it to that and so on. So it just gives you the understanding of how we can work with it, and that there is tremendous power in this tool set. Beyond that, because these tables are connected to each other, it means that I can look at a particular document, for instance, within the mobile document manager. I can see Kobe assets, and I can see that all of these assets are associated with that particular piece of product data. So it's all tied in, it's all connected. In terms of the attachments themselves, I want to look at the product data itself, don't I? Well, that's also linked in. So I can click on this button here and it opens up the document that's associated with that. And all of this is stored within the overall SharePoint environment. Now, people will say to me, well, okay, that's brilliant, but you know what? This isn't really BIM, is it? And I have to say, look, I've started to use things like Power BI, as you can see here, and then I've been working with BLogic and with Francesco and Nicola, and they've been very supportive in integrating this into the environment that I'm working in. So this is essentially identifying the asset identifier, and it's using that asset identifier to identify the particular element within the model environment, which essentially is serving up that data based on those numbers, that value for the asset identifier. So if I was to look at that in, say, Power BI, it looks like this. And if I was to look at the underlying data, it looks like this. So as you can see here, you've got a correlation between the element ID, which in Power BI terms here, you can see it's called the object ID, and the value for the asset identifier. And all it's using is that information to serve up and zoom in on that model. So, well, what's the benefit of that? The benefit of that is simply that I now have an integration here, which is inside of my Power App, as you can see here. But then the upside of that is that if I go to the model viewer, for instance, I can zoom in here because I've integrated it into this environment, and it will basically go away, zoom in, and it will serve up the model for me. So as you can see, there's the model that's served up. If you want to see a bit more detail, you can see that. If I want to see the remaining background, I can do show all objects. This is the Forge viewer that's been integrated. As you can see here, I can see the properties that are associated with that particular item, and all of the capabilities are within this. So even if I want to measure, I can set my units, say, to millimeters, and then be able to do the measuring. Now, here's the deal, okay? Putting aside the cost of this integration, we are still talking about a relative order of magnitude, I would say, of about more than 10 in comparison with the tool sets which are out there that people are saying, oh, but we do BIM, but we integrate BIM with all the data. You get your data and you don't forget the I in BIM. All of this stuff gets said, and bottom line, I'm doing it not only in an environment that pretty much everybody has access to. Most people can get access to SharePoint. It can be integrated into Teams. And I'm kind of working out how is it that as one person, you can come up with this and then people are charging an arm and a leg for the stuff that's out there. Look, I'm just going to be real about this. I don't get it. Feel free to add your comments to this post, but this is it. We really do need to ask ourselves, what are the capabilities? Look, I can go into here. This is the air handling unit, but I've got others. This, for instance, is a drinking fountain. And again, it's in the same model. I can bring up the properties. I can do the measurements. I can open the background object so you can see it in its context and so on. I'm just wondering, if you want to spend the big money to say that you're using the so-called best-in-class tools, great, but this is saying, guess what? If you roll up your sleeves and you work and partner with people, you can generate something that's stable, that delivers the end result that you're looking for. And this is essentially what we're doing here. A few more examples. This is a duplex receptacle, as you can see here. I'll take another example. This one is a downlight. Another example. This one is a lavatory sink, as you can see here. And again, I can right click and show the background object in its context. I didn't bring in the architecture, I just wanted to isolate this stuff. And again, this is another example of a light switch, and all the data is there. So tell me in the comments what it is, why people are charging an arm and a leg for something which I believe can be brought down so that SMEs can actually deliver according to the BIM standards. As long as you can generate the model and serve it up so that it is correlated and linked to the data, as I've done here, then you're in a position to use the app to present this. So if I go into the app, this is where I can start to add the information, or I can do it, as I said before, inside of the Power App itself. It's all there. There's no reason why you shouldn't do it. So let's see the comments. What do people think? Should we be paying the kind of prices that we're seeing out there in the marketplace, or is there another way that we can ensure that small to medium enterprises can actually participate in this initiative to digitize the construction industry? Thank you.